everyone, my name is Luna and I'm here to break down everything that happened in episode 8 of campaign 4 of Critical Role, Fanged Revenge. And in particular, I kind of break down the political minefield that is Dhalmakia and Timony right now, plus Wiccander and the others made a choice that will have a huge impact on the campaign. But before we get into that, let's check in with the Seekers table, well, just 2 of them. In a tavern somewhere in the world, Octus and Valus are restless in the bar below, while Thaisha, Lady Aranessa and Sir Julien share a room upstairs. Thaisha and Aranessa share the bed, while Julien, ever on guard, dozes in a chair that has been pushed up against the door. In the bed, Aranessa is shivering, which wakes Thaisha, and she can tell that Aranessa is very unwell. She's been unable to eat or drink for days for sheer fear. It's making her so nauseous, and girl, I can relate. Even though I'm never in mortal danger, my tummy loves to think that I am. Thaisha goes downstairs to get some food and wakes Aranessa, who manages to swallow a few bites down. She says that she's been told when the Royces die, they are taken on a golden boat to the Fey realm, but she doesn't know anymore if that is still true. We've learned in previous episodes that followers of the old path are reincarnated, and Aranessa asks Thaisha,
"Forgive my religious ignorance. Do you think he's already been reborn?"
Yes. There's something I don't talk about very often. When I meet someone, usually I get a bit of an idea, an animal that they remind me of. And maybe it's a bit on the nose that Thyazi always reminded me of a falcon. Mostly because of that loud screech.
He had a really specific laugh.
Right?
Yeah.
Thaisha goes on to say that a few hours into their travel from Dhalmakia, she heard the screech of a falcon again, and she believes it's a sign from Thyazi that he's back and he's okay. They settle to rest again, with Thaisha insisting Julien take the bed so he can have the strength to punish the Taconis, which is his driving goal. Back over in the kingdom of Timony, we pick up with Cadigan, Thimble, and Tayor as they sneak around Castle Sloak, trying to get a lay of the land. They can tell that there aren't really any serviceable dwelling places in the castle, and all the soldiers and knights are essentially living out of their packs. Inside, the castle is dreary and rain-soaked as water pours into the fireplace and through the cracks and gaps in the walls. Casimir orders Sir Gully Breeches, who's wearing a black mantle of the Crow's Keepers, and his men to head into town to tell people there is a new baron, and then he asks Wick what he can do for House Halovar and how they might work together. Wick says they were very impressed by his work with Thyazi, which confuses Casimir. He says he thought the Halovars were trying to save Thyazi, that he'd heard through Thyazi's family that they were relying on someone in the Halovar family, and Wick says that was all just for public show and they really wanted him dead. As this conversation continues, Dr. Finger, or Tyranny, continues to insist that she tend to his wounds somewhere private, and she keeps saying it so often and talking him up so much and flirting that Casimir gets the wrong impression of who she is.
He leans into you and whispers, "This doctor, is this a courtesan?" I'm trying to pick up on what's being said, and this doesn't make any sense. Are you bringing up?
Is that something that you're interested in?
You said she was a family doctor.
Well, she helps the body in many ways.
Am I hearing this?
Yes, you are. What does...
Wiccander questions Casimir, trying to work out what he knows of the political machinations between House Taconis, House Halovar, and the Earl of this region of Timony. Casimir says he just knows that the Kendescent Creed are helping the Earl here, and I don't think this Earl was ever named, but I think they are based out of Ardarin, as we heard in Valo that all the Kendescent Creed luxes, like the heads of those chapels, were being sent there. So based on these few clues, let's see if we can parse out what is happening between the Sundered Houses and the Kingdom of Timony. So the Sundered Houses are the nobles of Dhalmakia, and they are not necessarily in charge of governing the city. However, they have a lot of influence over the governing body, which is the Revolutionary Council, via the Chamber of Lords Advisory, which I would guess is made up of nobles from the Sundered Houses. And they would counsel and petition the Revolutionary Council to make changes in their best interests. Timony is a separate kingdom and is ruled by King Augustus Valiant, who, by all accounts, seems to be a king for the people. We've met several NPCs who fought with him when he waged war and won, creating this kingdom, and they seem to have a lot of loyalty towards him. House Halovar, through their religion, the Candescent Creed, has started spreading throughout Timony and influencing its citizens. We saw in Araman a preacher who rallied the crowd with cries of King Augustus being a tyrant who has placed himself above the light. So it seems like House Halovar is stirring up instability in the Kingdom of Timony, potentially to leave it vulnerable for takeover by the Halovars or the other Sundered houses. The previous Baroness of Sloak married Docet Chaconus, and when she died, he inherited the title, which he then abdicated to pass on to Casimir. It's unclear if this was a move in the making for a long time, or if the Chaconus just wanted to have a foothold in this region and then they decided to use it for Casimir, but it seems like House Chaconus has made a deal with the Earl of Araman, who agreed to let Castle Sloak pass to the commoner and criminal Casimir. The Earl of Araman does not seem to be well liked by the people, at least that was my impression, so the Earl could have been made promises by the Chaconus and or the Halovars for assisting in destabilizing King Augustus's reign. Perhaps he's going to be set up as like a puppet figurehead if they do take over. We did learn earlier that Wick's grandmother, the Photarch Yanessa, is very wary of the Chaconus and doesn't really know what they're up to, so I don't think that they are necessarily working together, but perhaps they both spy an opportunity in Timony and they're both trying to take advantage. We know that currently King Augustus is on his way to a meeting with the Revolutionary Council in Dalmatia, and honestly, I'm a little worried that it could be a trap and that he could be assassinated or captured by the Chamber of Lords Advisory or others from the Sundered Houses. House Halovar seems to be landless at the moment. I believe they may have had land in the Oberdymian Empire before its fall, and while the Chaconus have a stronghold in the Land of the Dead, we haven't heard of House Halovar having anything similar. Maybe they've set their sights on Timony to be that land. Like I said last week, we also don't really know much about the Revolutionary Council and just how much influence the Chamber of Lords Advisory has on it. Maybe the Revolutionary Council will back up King Augustus, or maybe they are also party to a plot to overthrow him. I don't know. If you have any theories about this, please let me know in the comments, because I am really living for this Game of Thrones level of political intrigue, and it's so fun, so trying to tease out all of these relationships and connections. And speaking of political intrigue, I have finally started watching Mighty Nine animated. I was kind of waiting until I'd finished school for the year, and I just watched the first episode, which is filled with political intrigue and espionage, and I absolutely loved it so much. I actually ended up yapping about it for like 15 minutes in a bonus video over on my Patreon, so if you're also watching the series and you want to hear my thoughts, you can sign up at patreon.com/Luboffin. I want to say a huge thank you so much to all of my patrons, and welcome to new patrons Lissandro Carranza and Terranord. Again, if you want to support the channel and get access to some bonus videos, you can head to patreon.com/Luboffin. There's a link in the description. So anyway, back with Baron Sloak. He starts to lose patience with both Tyranny and Wick trying to get him alone, and he starts to yell at them, asking what they are really doing here. Wick panics and casts thaumaturgy to scream help as loud as he can, and Brennan has them roll initiative. Tyranny, with a nat 20 on her initiative, acts first, and she casts Suggestion on Casimir, telling him to calm down and that she just wants to make him comfortable. The magic washes over him, but it's not enough to convince him that Wick isn't up to something, and in fact, he sees right through him.
You think me a fool? Thiazi Fang was a brother to me, saved his life. They were depending on you to come through. It was you, wasn't it? They were depending on you to save him, his brother, his family, his loved ones. But you've got nobody at your back. I smell it on you. I know when someone's in out of their depth. You're all out of friends. You were to the manor born, a house cat caught out in the rain, with everything out in the alley. You're fucked. You'll spend the rest of your life calling for help, mate. Because you're not help to anybody.
Oh, what a scorcher appraisal of Wick. And he cuts so close to the truth that it really impacts him. You know, I think it makes him take a good hard look at himself, which we see play out later in the episode. Meanwhile, outside the castle, Thimble flies up through a window, spotting a crow's keeper in brand new full-plate armor, and it's clear that this rogue is not used to wearing such heavy armor, and he's having a lot of difficulty moving around in it. Cadigan and Tayor split up and circle around either side of the castle. Tayor tries to climb a tree, but the branch snaps, alerting two mounted knights. With a nat 20 initiative roll, Tayor is quickly on his feet, and he races around the side of the castle, managing to stay hidden. He overhears two knights talking who clearly don't like the new Baron. They all hear Wickender's yell for help, so Cadogan casts Fog Cloud and sends Wulfric after the horses as a distraction, which works beautifully, with several guards and one of the knights, who we later learn is called Dame Cosgrove, rushing after them. At Casimir's command, Wick is led out into the courtyard with a sword to his neck. The knight has orders to slit his throat if anything happens to Casimir, who is still under Tyranny's spell, and is happy to go somewhere private with her. Wick casts friends on the knight, asking him to step back, but the crow's keeper with him steps on his face and begins pushing him into the wet mud. Inside, Tyranny asks Casimir to lie down so she can tend to his wounds, and he agrees, putting him in the perfect position for her to cast Hold Person. Outside, with a Nat 1 stealth check, Cadogan is seen by a crow's keeper and initiative kicks off with the party well and truly made. Cadogan launches the crow's keeper off the side of the wall, and Thimble flies through the window to Casimir's paralysed form and confronts him for his betrayal of Thjazi.
I look at him. Thjazi never did anything to you. You were a brother. Your greed is what brought you to this.
Guard rushes in and attacks Tyranny, dropping her concentration on Hold Person, which allows Casimir to stand and run up the stairs after Thimble. Left alone with the guard to contend with, Tyranny takes out the mystery enchanter's egg given to the group by Ulbid and throws it on the ground.
Tyranny, you take a beautiful little rainbow egg. It feels so heavy and pleasant to the touch. As you throw it down, it cracks apart, revealing it was totally hollow the entire time, except not super hollow because there's something wriggling in there. Oh, it's bigger than the egg. And a massive squid explodes into being.
This was extremely funny, and there was just something about seeing that squid shot on the map that just made me laugh so much. I think it's because a lot of this scenario has been very serious and tense, like negotiations and espionage, and then bam, magic squid. Unfortunately, it is an illusory squid, so it can't fight on Tyranny's behalf or anything, but it does the job of scaring the hell out of the guards, and Tyranny is able to hide within its form. Wick, hearing all this commotion, Misty steps back into the room with Tyranny. Thimble goes after Casimir again.
I'm gonna whisper in his ear, "Catch me if you can, you little bitch." And I'm gonna fly out the window.
He tries to shoot her with a crossbow but misses. Meanwhile, Wick is attacked by a knight and with a critical hit comes very close to death.
How many hit points do you have?
Only 9.
Wick, I'm going to tell you right now that there is it is very statistically unlikely. It is statistically unlikely, but it is possible that enough damage will be dealt to you in this one blow to kill you. 29 points of damage is what it will take to kill you fully in one hit. I'm gonna roll some d6s.
How many?
How many?
Are the words of Casimir Gavendale ringing in your mind at all right now?
Of course they are. He somehow, in his dumb state, cut right through to the bone. He knew exactly who I was.
If you die here, is it fair to say you will have died without any member of your family knowing that you were here or having your back?
For sure.
You take 27 points of damage. 2 points away from instant death.
Yowzers, that scared me a lot. I thought for sure when Brennan started talking about how Wick would, die alone with no support from his family that he was a goner. Tyranny drags Wick's unconscious form inside the illusory squid and reveals that, yes, she really does care about him.
If you die right now, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Jesus!
I mean, I knew that she did care about him. She has stuck out her neck for him a few times now, but I don't know, this was just a really cool moment to see that so viscerally and for Tyranny to be genuinely scared that he was about to die. She takes her turn to give him advantage on his next death save, and it's here where we learn about some new homebrew rules that they are using this campaign called Desperate Measures. So apparently when they are bloodied, which usually means half hit points or lower, they have some unique options to use. We don't know what those options are just yet, but we saw the desperate measures for when you are making death saves. So if you have at least one successful death saving throw and no failures, you can choose to give heroic inspiration, essentially like a reroll, to another character, or you can choose to automatically stabilize, meaning you are still at 0 hit points, but you are no longer making death saves and are unconscious until healed or rested. Sam chose to give inspiration to Tayor on his first save and then stabilized on his second. These desperate measures are really similar to the death moves in Daggerheart. In that game, when you fall unconscious, you can choose from 3 options, and it really gives the player a lot more agency and say over whether or not their character dies. I thought it was really interesting that they chose to include a mechanic like this, especially when they're not playing Daggerheart. I imagine it's because Brennan doesn't really want to hold back when it comes to encounters, but they also probably don't want a TPK like this early in the campaign. It's also still unclear how revivification works in this world. Brennan said that Octus was the first case of someone being brought back without divine magic, so it could be that all revivification ended when the Shapers died, or it could be something still available to classes that tap into divine domains despite the Shapers' destruction. I would not be surprised at all if they've put limitations on revivification, because I think with this style of campaign, they want that death to be a real threat. And if they're letting people sort of automatically stabilize, to me, that feels like there's probably no easy access to revivifying magics. In true swashbuckler style, Casimir and Thimble face off, and he calls out to her that despite all the promises Thiazi and the rebellion made him, no glorious day came, and he was sick of waiting. Unsurprisingly, this doesn't move Thimble, and she attacks him again.
Laura Bailey, how do you want to do this?
Yeah.
I'm gonna. So I've gotten both sides of his neck with slashes, and I'm gonna come through on the third flight through and get the middle, connecting the two, and cut him straight across the front of the neck, and look at him in front of the one good eye and say, "Can you hear it now?"
Extremely satisfying that nobody else attacked Casimir except for Thimble. I love that happened, and so good. Outside, Catagon and Teor have been battling the knights and the cruise keepers, but at the sight of Casimir's death, Sir Finch throws down his sword, telling his brother knight, Sir Copswood, it's over.
The Baron is dead. Sir Cosgrove, lay down your arms. We are prisoners of war. Castle Sloak is yours.
With the fight done, Teor rushes to Wick and casts Cure Wounds, pulling him to his feet. Sir Finch says the castle now belongs to House Halovar, and Sir Copswood falls to his knees, saying that he has failed his oath to the Baron and holds his sword out, expecting to be executed. Teor tells him that no one will be executed, especially since the Baron has only been there for 1 day. Wick tells them that they are both released from service and pays them a couple of months of their wages. Dame Cosgrove also returns from having chased the horses, and the group observe that she's kind of a natural leader who the others look to. We also learn that she decided to join the Falconers' Rebellion at the age of 17, and she's even heard of Thimble and Thiazi. She is the last living member of the Order of the Howling Rain, a title that she inherited when her father died. Well, not a title, sorry, like being the last member. That happened when her father died because he was also a member. The group discuss what to do with the castle and whether or not Wick should claim it for House Halovar. Wick is feeling very confused and is still contemplating the things Casimir said to him earlier, and he says that he always thought his family were doing good, but since they left Dhalmakia, almost exclusively the name Halovar has been greeted with disdain and fear, which he feels shame and guilt for.
But you should take
It's like
care
you've totally...
in how you speak about yourself, otherwise you will believe it. I saw you from the top of that castle wall go after her. You threw yourself into the room with that squid.
The fake squid?
Yeah, that's true. And you did defend my honor as Dr. Finger.
I need to make some changes, and I need to make some decisions. And something that Thimble said to me rings true. You said you should try to take down your family from the inside or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like my name is... awful.
It is.
So I think I need to figure out how far the rot has spread within my family and shine a disinfecting light on it. I don't know how to do that or even where to begin. But something must change, and I must be the one to do it.
The group discuss not claiming the castle and just leaving it, and Sir Finch says in that case the Earl will decide who to bequeath it to. They also consider not claiming it for Halovar, but flying a new banner, a Fanged Falcon, which Thimble draws to confuse their enemies. Eventually, though, Wick decides he will claim the title of Baron of Sloak, which is a step down in nobility for him, and the Knights pledge their allegiance. Sir Gully returns and learns of this change in title, and despite obviously being very angry and upset, he eventually concedes to follow the new Baron, stating that it's a step up for him to now serve a Halovar. Wick orders him to remove his brand new plate mail and to remove his black mantle. He is no longer a crew's keeper. However, Wick's new station does not last long as Cadogan pulls him aside.
Hey, bud. You and I haven't said fuck all to each other, have we?
No, I've sort of picked up that you're a man of few words.
Yeah, you're right. All this political intrigue bullshit's a little bit above my head. I'm gonna tell you one thing. You wanna be a good man.
Yes, of course.
You got a little bit of power in your hand. And the only way you can really make a difference is with a little bit of power. You got a chance here. I know you don't want this fucking place. And I know we got bigger fish to fry. Why don't you just give it back to him? Baron Cosgrove has a nice ring to it.
Wick, after speaking with the others, decides to follow Cadogan's advice and abdicates his new position, bequeathing it to Dame Cosgrove.
We have decided to, that we are going to vacate this castle and be on our merry way. But in doing so, we would like to bequeath it to you, and present you with the deed to this place, trusting in you to take care of it as you see fit, to share it with whom you see fit, and to make it a place, hopefully, that does good for this community and for your own name.
You don't know anything about
We know that you have honor, and we know that you, we sense that you speak true, and you've done nothing to imply that you're anything but guided by illumination and radiance.
Her eyes well with tears, and you see that Sir Finch stands up, helm at his arm, and says, "Long live the Baroness Cosgrove of Sloak." And you see that the knights all get up, helms off.
It did seem for a moment like they were going to set up shop and use this place as a base of operations, but I like this ending much better. You know, they don't need a castle, especially when they still need to find Cid. And if Wick did truly claim it for the Halovars, I'm sure it would only be a matter of time before someone, whether his own house, the Daconis, or the Earl of Arderin, came to take it from him by force. Wick writes a letter explaining this change in title, which the new Baroness can present to the king when he returns, and he'll be able to affirm her new position. With no more business in the castle, the group head back to the town and visit the public house run by brawler Dosiber. Much to everyone's dismay, there is no alcohol whatsoever, but they are pleased to see the Hound of the King, Dame Morgane, and they explain to her what has transpired. Outside, they spy Sir Gully Breeches running away from the castle, intent on abandoning his oath, but another Hound of the King is waiting.
No, he's showing off. That's much too much of a head start. From the woodline, you see a mastiff.
Yeah, dude, yeah! Now he's showing off? Come on!
It turns around, and you see this mastiff through the air, honestly with form very similar to Cadogan's, hit this guy's back and just stand on him in the puddle. Boom. As he stands there, and you see, you hear a booming voice from that field as Gully is in the like several inches deep water say, "You doffed your armor. Let the world see as you feel its weight one last time."
So Hawkins stands on Sir Gully's back until he drowns, and then he comes into the public house where the group meet him properly and discuss how to try and save Cid. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already done so, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss a breakdown, and please let me know all your thoughts about this episode in the comments. In case you missed it, I did a recap of episode 5, which I had to skip because I was sick, so you might have been looking out for it. You can check that out right here, and I also hope to get episode 6 done as well. That's the only episode that I'm missing so far. But yes, thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye!
But I would enjoy
Oh, I fucking love him.
a little bit of slop if you have some.